Hi everyone, welcome back for day 6 of our 30-day challenge. Now today I wanted to mix it up a bit because sometimes I get a little bit bored and, well, not bored, I just have such an active mind that I need to mix it up just to keep my interest and to, well, it also is a way to have a fresh start as well. So I wanted to talk a little bit about backgrounds today because in our signature we can use all different types of paper. So it's called a junk journal, so it's designed to use up old stuff and recycle. So we can use a variety of different things. We can use the pages from the book we've actually cut out. We can fold them in half and have them, I'm just going to get an example. So here's an example of one way that we can use the pages in a little, so this is a little booklet made out of envelopes. And you can find this in a previous YouTube. In fact, I'll put the link down there. Where you use bits like the pages of the book. So this is a page out of the book that we actually just took the cover off. And you can have all different heights of pages, staggered up and down, different types of paper, different types of pages, different weights of paper. So this is a normal page from a normal school book. This is a book with music. This is a coffee filter paper which has been stamped on. So these are all staggered. So this is a choice that you make. Are you making one like this? Are you making one like this, which is my muck around painting wet journal? So this has got all raggedy edges because it's all a particular type of paper. I didn't bind it really very well. It was a very simple effort. Okay. Or this was my journal from the 100 days. So I did a proper binding. It's a bit, there's stuff sticking out. And this has all the signatures in it. And they're all even. And then you stick in your things. This is the kind we're making. However, if you're coming along for this ride and you're a little bit more experienced, of course, you can go as far as you like with it. But I wanted to talk, as you know, I'm keeping this fairly simple. And also trying to keep it cost effective for people who are just starting out who may not even have any supplies. So I did, I can't find the bit of paper, but I did an original work. So this was a bit of a collage and then I did painting over the top. Now what I want to do today is something similar to this. The first thing I want to talk about though is that this might be too dark. So for me, I wouldn't use this in the particular book I'm doing because, as you know, I'm keeping to a fairly neutral palette with the types and the paper and this brown card. That's because that's what I'm doing for this particular book. So if you've decided you want to be colourful, go for it. No problems about that. But what I did was lightened up some. I may find that this is okay to use as one of the pages in a signature. For my book, I wouldn't use this, it's a bit dark. So that's one example. I could very well use the sepia. That would work for my book. I've got a couple of other examples. This is watercolour onto a bit of canvas. So that could be ready to be stamped or additions made. And then what I would do is scan it and print it out. Now, if you don't have a scanner and you've got a decent phone or a camera with a SIM card that means you can upload a photo, you can photo this and still use it. So I would probably scan this. If I wanted to use this, I would scan it in, print it out. This is what I did with this one, which was another one. I scanned it in and I printed it out onto, this is Cardi rag paper. This is available for me to use as a page in a signature if I wanted to. Or it's also available for me to stamp over the top bits with backgrounds that are ready to be used. This is for oil paints. It's a particular paper that will take oil paint and a bit of terps and minerals, you know. So it's a heavier duty and it's a little less porous. I love it. It's got this gorgeous grain to it. I just love the lines. This is also another idea, background with a bit of stamping on. So this is something that can be photocopied or scanned and reprinted onto paper and used as a signature. It's quite thick, this oil paper, so it lends itself to being a little bit more like a cover because of the thickness of it. And just more playing around with just different colours. So I've got these backgrounds. I can go wherever I like with those. What I thought I'd do was show you a different, quick, cheap and easy way to do a background. Now I've got one of these. You can pick up these really cheap in a kid's $2 shop. I would probably prefer to use a brayer, which has got the rubber. Not everyone, of course, will have one of these. This is cute because it's just a little tiny one. You can use one of these sponges, another thing you can pick up from a $2 shop, or something where they're just really, you know, a pack of 5 for $2 or something. So that these are ways you can do this quite cheaply. I've just got the most crappiest bit of paper that it's a bit of sketchbook paper, but I've been using it for leaning on and it's got a bit of stamping. So first I'm interested in not having too heavy a covering and not too dark. So for this one, this is what I'm going to do. I wanted to show you a couple of different ways of stamping. Just going to add a bit of water and water it down a little bit. These are Matisse. You can use anything really. These ones in particular are Matisse. Now this is going to be really thick, I think. Matisse Structure. So Matisse Structure is quite thick. A bit more water. I'm using a glass multimedia board. I'm starting to build up colours. Got a bit of the Matisse background, which is a coloured gesso. Now once again, you could use anything for this. You could use your kids' poster paints. You could use just some old gouache you've got sitting around. The point is making the background. That's really the point. I'll get a bit more water in here. The main thing is to have fun with it, because it is your journal, and if you're being an absolute perfectionist with it, well, it's your choice, of course. Of course that's your choice. However, are you having fun? Let's have a bit of joy with this. There we go. Now I'm not even fussed whether there's gaps here, but I do need to dry this, so I'm going to come back after I've just dried it off a bit. Okay, so I've cleaned down my a bit damp on the back. I've cleaned down my area and dried this off, enough for it to be usable. Some people may say, but what do I use? I haven't got any stamps. And I wanted to have a little bit of a play with a potato, because remember when we were at school, when we were younger, and we used to just do the potato stamping? It was because it was a way for the children to have a stamp without paying any money, without it costing parents any money. So, you know, you're probably laughing at me doing this, but this is a beginner junk journal. You may have no supplies, and use what you've got. That's my thought. Give it a go. Use what you can. So stamps can be a bit moist in there. I'm drying it off a bit. I haven't done this before, so this may be a complete and utter fail, but I wondered what would happen if I pressed a bottle cap in and then cut maybe only about 2 millimeters in to the edge. This could be an exciting, playful adventure. Could go terribly wrong. But let's see. Let's see what happened. If I can get it off. Right, there it's come off. It's got a little bit of a... It's not as flat as it could be. Every time we cut a potato, it creates more water. All right, so I got an orange here. Clearly there are bumps and ridges in it. Maybe that is okay. Maybe that's fine. All right, well, I actually really like that effect. It's not too obvious. It's got patterns through it. I'm just going to take a little bit here off the edge to bring it back a bit. So just remember you're using a knife and to be a bit careful about this. Of course, you've got all the starch on your knife, so don't forget to give that a little wipe. Okay, I'm ready to stamp away to my heart's content now. Looks like an E. Alright, so that's one thing we can do on the top. Obviously, if you have, for me, I really just am having a love affair with leaf stamps, and I have for about 5 years, and I probably always will. I think I would like to have a ferny look on here. Okay, so I think you could probably carve a bit more on your potato. These ones are sometimes hard to get off when they're brand new, if you haven't gotten it off before. I've got acrylic block. Now don't worry if you haven't got any of these things. You can easily make a bit more potato stamps, and it's not a big deal. You could use, that's right, here was the other thing I wanted to do. I was just gonna test out how this worked. Alright, that's not as good as I'd like it. Alright, let's do some leaf stamp. First I'm going to just test in the corner just to see whether I like that look or that colour. Now I find it a little bit dark, so I'm not sure I like that, so I'm just going to stamp it off on something else. See if I prefer this. So that to me blends in a bit better. I think I like this better. So we're going with this, which is a distressed oxide peeled paint. If you haven't got any inks, you could still just use a tiny little bit of paint. mix it up like that. Let's do a little blue potato. And you've still got a stamp. So really, it doesn't matter if you haven't got the things, you can still make these. There's no problems about that. Just want to clean that off. That's what those mixed media glass boards are wonderful for this. Now, I honestly don't really feel the need to do anything else on this. I'm quite happy with it. I'm going to go and scan it and print it out and show you what I mean about signature pages. Okay, so I've scanned it in and I have printed out a copy. Now, as you can see, it isn't as vibrant, and this could be just, you know, I've got a pretty good printer and I've got an Epson scan. It's an Echo Tank, so I don't mind it. It's a personal preference. If I want it to be bright like this, I can use the original. Well, I could go to a print shop and get a very high quality photocopy in colour. But for the most part, junk journals are rather vintagey looking. So for me, I'm not too fussed that it loses a little bit. So I've got this now to play with. So I've printed one out on just plain white copy paper. I also printed one out on a buff colour copy paper. So you can see not a huge amount of difference. This has just got a little bit more of the cool white poking through, and this has got a bit more of a warm yellow poking through. So I also have one of the things I just love playing around with the settings and the colours. So I ended up mucking around and getting a green version as well. And I've got all these. Now I can print out as many as I like. In fact, I'll upload them onto a DigiKit, I think, because I quite like them. And what I did was had a happy accident. So I was printing out onto tracing paper, and for some reason it just came out black and white. I do have to calibrate. I did calibrate before I did the colours because it's got lines through it, so that's a bit annoying. However, this is still usable. I have no idea why I didn't tell it to do it. It just did it. I have no idea why. But look, there's all sorts of little bits you can pull out for collage. Okay, so that's really the job today, to make, well, you can make more than one if you get carried away. I know as soon as I stop recording, I'll probably make a couple more because it's kind of fun. And then you can print out as many as you like for the pages in your signature. So I'll see you tomorrow for day 7, and have fun. Play to your heart's content. Bye for now.